The topic today wasn't planned, but since my 30-day challenge broke at 25 days straight, I thought this would be a nice segue to talk about success is not determined by the result, but rather determined by the habits that you form and the progress that you have made. Let me repeat, success is not determined by the result, but rather by the positive habits and the progress that you have made. To me, setting a goal and only fixing it on result rather than the process to get there can cause bad behaviors. There are plenty of examples in the real world when you dangling the carrot with result. People have been known to cheat, corporations have been known to cook the book, and people have done anything humanly possible to get that result. So the result might be achievable, but the way that people get there may or may not be the right way, may or may not be the sustainable way. It's a short-term result, but it's not a long-term sustainable result. But if people focus on not just the result, but the process, the journey to get there, forming the habit, making that progress, whether you achieve that result or not, because you have formed a positive habit, and if you continue that positive habit after the challenge, then the result will follow. I firmly believe that. And we don't have to look that far to see what the result-driven society can lead us to. Look at the wealth gap that we currently face. We have only top 1% that have all the wealth, and the rest of the Americans are struggling, and the middle class continue to shrink. If you look at how the economy is doing, it seems like it's doing great. The top line revenue is great, gross margin is great, net profit is great, the stock is booming, and we have more billionaires, we have more millionaires now. Instead of just one company that is $1 trillion market cap, now you have multiple companies are over $1 trillion market cap, which is exciting to see, but it's at the expense of the hard working class. When companies need to satisfy the shareholder and stakeholder, and when they want to move the stock prices up, they can get that result. But how they get there may or may not be morally right. Don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for a free handout. But how much more growth are companies looking to grow? How much more millions and billions, how many more zeros do companies looking to add? How many more zeros that CEOs looking to add their wealth at the expense of the working class? I mean, if you think about it, who is supporting all the products? Who is supporting all the services? It's the people that are working so hard that get themselves into debt that purchase those products and services. Even though I'm a fan of democracy, I am a fan of capitalism, and I don't believe that taxing the rich is the answer to wealth inequality issues, because there are deeper root causes to that, but I won't touch base on that subject today. I just don't think the senior executive level, all the way up to the CEO, need additional zeros in their check, in their net worth, to make them any happier. Why hog all the extra zeros when some of that can be evenly distributed and help the people that get them there? And the people that get them there are the employees that put in all the hard work and all the time and effort to grow the business. And when I say the people, it's also the consumers that spend their hard-earned money or get into debt to buy their products and services. That's just one of the examples what result-driven society has led us to. Because companies wants to continue to grow their market cap, continue to want to grow their business, continue to want to satisfy the shareholder and stakeholder, they do whatever they can to satisfy the shareholder at the expense of the people. It's a profit over people. They do everything they can to balance the book so that the investor look at the business as a good business to invest in. I also want to avoid painting a big broad brush on all companies. I can say there are companies out there that are not just for profit, they also take care of the people. The business that I love to work for, the business that I'm a fan of, are the people that are moving the business forward with the people, not moving the business forward at the expense of people. Going back to my 30-day challenge where I record, edit, and upload the same day, even though the streak ended at 25 days, I consider a challenge a successful challenge. Because when I went on to that challenge, I had 3 goals. One is to avoid being a perfectionist. Two, overcome the imposter syndrome. And the third one is to be comfortable in front of a camera. Make it second nature where I don't have to think about it. When I look back when I first started to now, I feel like I have achieved not quite where I want to be, but I have made tremendous progress and I have developed the habit of just simply press record button. I wasn't worried about everything being perfect, from the lighting be slightly dark to my eyes have a little bit bagginess because I'm tired, or to me having a few ums here and there, having awkward cuts. I was okay uploading good enough. As far as imposter syndrome goes, I believe I have overcome that imposter syndrome where I don't let that bother me anymore. I don't have to have a paper to tell me that I know what I'm talking about. And by being able to talk in front of a camera without any script, it shows that I know what I'm talking about. I understand the topic. I live the topic. So I should be able to share it comfortably. As far as treating a camera as an extension of me and being second nature if I don't think about it anymore, I have also made a tremendous progress as well. I just know that, hey, today is a new day and I need to press record. I press record. And the statement of success is not defined by result, but rather by the positive habits that you have formed and the progress you have made. Is applicable to also budgeting and many aspects of life. With budgeting, you may set a target and you may or may not hit it. You may stick to the budget that you originally had or modify it because something happened, and you may, instead of hitting all your target, you may only 80% of your target. But even 80% or 70%, it is still 70% better than when you first started. And the last justification I have for success is not defined by result, but rather by the positive habits that you have formed and the progress you have made, is when you set out goal, it should be hard to achieve. It should have a very high likely chance of it failing. If you set a goal that you can easily achieve, that's not really a goal. That's not really challenging enough. With that statement, you have some chance of meeting the goal and exceeding a goal, and you have more chances of not meeting a goal. But whether you meet the goal or did not meet the goal, if you have made improvement from where you were to where you are, that to me is success. People that know me know that I am a driven individual and I always have goals that I set. But I have never been fixated on the result. I always focus on the process. I always focus on forming a habit because I believe best practices will almost always lead to great result. However, great result may or may not lead to best practices. So far on my channel, you have seen a couple of publicly announced challenges. One is walk for 1 hour a day and OMAD for 6 days straight. And now the 30-day challenge where I record, edit, and upload the same day. I believe in challenges, especially publicly announced challenge, because it holds you accountable. It keeps you on track when you feel like you want to fall back. So what I challenge you is think about any part of your life that you want to see improvement on. Set a challenge, set a target that might be hard to reach, but if you don't get there, don't be down on yourself. Ask yourself where you were and where you are. If you made 20% improvement, 30% improvement, 80% improvement, that is still better than zero. We had a fun but exhausting 3-day weekend where our daughter gymnastic meet was only a bridge away from the Canadian border, and it was 3 hours away from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada side. So we decided to not only attend our daughter gymnastic meet, but also drove 3 hours to Niagara Falls. It was a long drive. It was bitter cold, kinda. The temperature was okay, but with the wind chill, it made it pretty cold. So by the time we were done, we did some walking, we did some souvenir shopping, and had some family dinner. It was already getting kind of late, and I was getting to the point where it was kind of exhausting throughout the day. So I decided to pull the plug on my streak of record, edit, and upload the same day. It was 25 days prior to breaking the streak, And even though I did not continue the streak up to the 30 days that I wanted to, I would still consider that a successful challenge, 30-day challenge.